Janus, the Roman god, had two sets of eyes, one looking behind him and the other looking ahead. Executives and general managers should be able to relate. They, too, must constantly look backward, attending to past products and processes, while also looking forward, preparing for future innovations. This mental balancing act can be one of the most difficult managerial challenges. It necessitates executives exploring new opportunities while working diligently to exploit existing capabilities, and it's no surprise that few companies excel at it. Most successful businesses excel at refining their current offerings, but they struggle to pioneer radically new products and services. Kodak and Boeing are just two recent examples of once dominant companies that failed to adapt to changing market conditions. Kodak excelled at analog photography but has yet to make the transition to digital cameras. Boeing, a longtime leader in commercial aircraft, has struggled in its defense contracting operations and has recently faltered in the face of competition from Airbus. Failure to achieve breakthrough innovations while also steadily improving an existing business is so common, and so fascinating, that it has become a battleground of management thought. Scholars have spent decades spinning theories to explain the puzzle and offering solutions. Some argue that there is no way out of the dilemma, that established businesses simply lack the flexibility to venture into new territory. Some have proposed that large corporations adopt a venture capital model, funding exploratory expeditions while remaining out of the way. Others have suggested that cross-functional teams are essential for developing game-changing innovations. Others have claimed that a company can switch between different organizational models, focusing on exploitation for a time and then shifting into exploration mode. We recently decided to put these and other theories to the test by looking at how actual, modern businesses fare when they attempt to pursue innovations that go beyond their current products or markets. Are they able to make breakthroughs? Do their existing businesses suffer as a result? What are their organizational and managerial structures? What works and what does not work? We discovered that some businesses have been quite successful at both exploiting the present and exploring the future, and as we looked deeper into them, we discovered that they share important characteristics. They distinguish between new, exploratory units and traditional, exploitative units, allowing for different processes, structures, and cultures while maintaining tight links across units at the senior executive level. In other words, a tightly integrated senior team manages organizational separation. These companies are referred to as ambidextrous organizations, and we believe they provide a practical and proven model for forward-thinking executives looking to pioneer radical or disruptive innovations while pursuing incremental gains. These examples demonstrate that a company does not have to abandon its past in order to reinvent itself for the future. Exploration and exploitation. Most businesses must maintain a variety of innovation efforts in order to thrive in the long run. They must constantly pursue incremental innovations, small improvements in their existing products and operations that allow them to operate more efficiently and provide increasingly valuable value to customers. For example, an automaker may frequently modify a basic engine design to increase horsepower, improve fuel efficiency, or improve reliability. Companies must also make architectural changes, utilizing technological or process advancements to fundamentally alter some component or element of their business. Using the Internet's data communication capabilities, for example, a bank may be able to relocate its customer service call center to a low labor cost country like India. Finally, businesses must develop discontinuous innovations, radical breakthroughs such as digital photography that fundamentally alter the basis for competition in an industry, frequently rendering old products or ways of working obsolete. All of these types of innovation can have various goals. Some may be directed at a company's current customers. Others may be delivered to an existing market that is larger than a company's current customer base. For example, a car insurer may develop a new type of policy for boat owners. Others, on the other hand, may be focused on an entirely new market that has yet to be defined. For example, people who download online music. We studied how companies pursued innovations across this matrix in our research with colleagues Wendy Smith, Robert Wood, and George Westerman. We specifically sought out companies that attempted to pursue both modest, incremental innovations, in the lower left quadrant of the matrix, and more dramatic, breakthrough innovations, toward the upper right area. We ended up focusing on 35 attempts to launch game-changing innovations by 15 business units across 9 industries. We investigated the structure and outcomes of the groundbreaking projects, as well as their impact on the operations and performance of traditional businesses. Companies structured their breakthrough projects in one of 4 ways. 7 were completed within existing functional designs that were fully integrated into the regular organizational and management structure. 9 cross-functional teams were formed, groups that operate within the established organization but outside of the existing management hierarchy. 4 were unsupported teams, independent units established outside of the established organization and management hierarchy. And 15 were pursued within ambidextrous organizations, in which breakthrough efforts were organized as structurally independent units with their own processes, structures, and cultures but were integrated into the existing senior management hierarchy. The results of the 35 initiatives were tracked along 2 dimensions. First, we assessed their success in developing the desired innovations, as measured by the actual commercial results of a new product or the application of practical market or technical learning. Second, we examined the existing business's performance. Did the firm's results remain stable, improve, or decline as it worked on breakthroughs? We discovered that the organizational design and management practices used had a direct and significant impact on both the breakthrough initiative and the traditional business performance. Ambidextrous organizations outperformed the other 3 structures when it came to launching game-changing products or services. While none of the cross-functional or unsupported teams produced real innovations, and only a quarter of the functional designs produced true innovations, more than 90% of the ambidextrous organizations met their objectives. An exception were breakthrough innovations intended to directly substitute for existing products. In these cases, functional designs outperformed ambidextrous designs. In our study, more than 90% of ambidextrous organizations met their objectives. When we examined 8 cases in which a company initially organized its breakthrough initiative around functional designs, cross-functional teams, or unsupported teams and then shifted to an ambidextrous design, the superiority of ambidextrous designs became even clearer. After the change, the initiative's performance improved significantly in 7 of the 8 cases. In contrast, 3 companies began with an ambidextrous design and then switched to one of the others. Performance suffered significantly in 2 of these cases. We discovered that ambidextrous organizations were clearly superior when we measured the effects of all 35 initiatives on their existing businesses. Almost every time an ambidextrous structure was used, the existing product's competitive performance improved or remained stable. In contrast, where functional designs, cross-functional teams, or unsupported teams were used, the results of traditional operations frequently decline. On a theoretical level, it's easy to see why ambidextrous organizations would outperform other types of organizations. The structure of ambidextrous organizations allows for unit-to-unit cross-fertilization while preventing cross-contamination. The tight managerial coordination allows the new units to share important resources from the traditional units, cash, talent, expertise, customers, and so on. But the organizational separation ensures that the new unit's distinct processes, structures, and cultures are not overwhelmed by the forces of business as usual. Simultaneously, the established units are shielded from the distractions of launching new businesses, allowing them to continue to devote all of their attention and energy to refining their operations, improving their products, and serving their customers. But how do ambidextrous organizations function? We can begin to identify the key managerial and organizational characteristics that underpin their ability to exploit and explore by delving deeper into the experiences of 2 such organizations, USA Today and CIBA Vision. A newspaper redesigns itself. USA Today was a thriving business in the late 1990s, but it faced an uncertain future. Since its inception in 1982, when its colorful brand of journalism was widely mocked by critics, the national newspaper, a division of the Gannett Corporation, had come a long way. After losing more than $500 million in its first decade, the paper turned a profit in 1992 and continued to grow rapidly, eventually becoming the most widely read daily newspaper in the United States. With the majority of its subscribers being well-heeled business travelers, it also became an appealing platform for national advertisers, bringing in a steady flow of revenue. However, storm clouds appeared on the horizon as the 1990s progressed. Newspaper readership was steadily declining, especially among young people. Customers were increasingly turning to television and internet media outlets for news, increasing competition. And newsprint prices were skyrocketing. To maintain strong growth and profits, USA Today's president and publisher, Tom Curley, recognized that the company would need to expand beyond its traditional print business. Such expansion, he realized, would necessitate dramatic innovations. The company would have to figure out how to apply its current news gathering and editing capabilities to completely new media. Curley chose Lorraine Chahovsky, USA Today's general manager of media projects and former editor of the paper's money section, to launch usatoday.com in 1995, based on his beliefs. He gave her carte blanche to operate independently of the print business, and she established a sort of skunk works operation, bringing in people from outside USA Today and housing them on a different floor from the newspaper. She created a fundamentally different type of organization, with roles and incentives tailored to real-time news delivery in an entrepreneurial, highly collaborative culture. With internet use on the rise, the venture appeared to be a sure bet. However, the results were disappointing. Although usatoday.com was profitable by the end of the decade, its growth was slow and had little impact on the company's overall results. Curley saw the issue as the new unit being so disconnected from the print operation that it was failing to capitalize on the newspaper's vast resources. Tchaikovsky was a member of Curley's executive team, but she received little support from the other members. They had little incentive to help her succeed because they saw her unit as a competitor to the print business and made few efforts to share their considerable resources with her. As the newspaper continued to consume the majority of the available capital, usatoday.com found itself cash-strapped, and the online unit began to lose talented employees. Tchaikovsky pushed for her company to be completely separated from the newspaper, as other companies were doing with their internet ventures, but Curley had a different opinion. He had come to believe that the new unit needed more integration rather than more separation. He decided in 1999 that USA Today should pursue a network strategy, in which news content would be shared across 3 platforms: the newspaper, usatoday.com, and Gannett's 21 local television stations. "We're no longer in the newspaper business. We're in the news information space, and we'd better learn to deliver content regardless of form," Curley said. Curley knew he needed to build an ambidextrous organization that could support the print business while also pursuing innovations in broadcasting and online news. So, in 2000, he replaced the leader of usatoday.com with another internal executive who was a strong supporter of the network strategy, and he brought in an outsider to create USA Today Direct, a television operation. Both the online and television organizations remained distinct from the newspaper, with their own processes, structures, and cultures, but Curley insisted on tight integration of the 3 businesses' senior leadership. The heads of the online and television units met daily with Karen Jurgensen, the editor of USA Today, to review stories and assignments, share ideas, and identify other potential synergies. The unit heads quickly realized that gaining the cooperation of USA Today's reporters, for example, would be critical to the strategy's success. Print journalists are notorious for hoarding stories, so they decided to train the print reporters in television and web broadcasting and outfit them with video cameras so they could file stories simultaneously in the different media. The moves quickly paid off, as the reporters realized their stories would reach a much larger audience, and that they would be able to appear on television. In the newsroom, a new position of network editor was also created to assist reporters in shaping their stories for broadcast media. Curley also made larger changes to the organization and its management at the same time. He let go of several senior executives who did not share his commitment to the network strategy, ensuring that his team presented a united front and delivered consistent messages to the staff. He also altered the executive incentive program, replacing unit-specific goals with a single bonus program tied to growth targets across all 3 media. Human resource policies were changed to encourage transfers between media units, and promotion and compensation decisions began to take people's willingness to share stories and other content into account. A Friends of the Network recognition program was established as part of that effort to explicitly reward cross-unit accomplishments. Even as sharing and synergy were encouraged, the 3 units' organizational integrity was carefully maintained. The units remained physically separate, with very different staffing models. The staff of usatoday.com was significantly younger on average than the newspaper's reporters, and they remained far more collaborative and faster-paced. Reporters remained fiercely independent, focusing on more in-depth coverage of stories than television staff. Even as sharing and synergy were encouraged, the 3 units' organizational integrity was carefully maintained. Because of its ambidextrous organization, USA Today has continued to compete aggressively in the mature business of daily print news, while also developing a strong internet franchise and providing breaking news coverage to Gannett television stations. During the internet crash, when other newspapers' profits plummeted, USA Today made $60 million, thanks in large part to the company's ability to retain national advertisers and revenues from its profitable usatoday.com operation. A new perspective on growth. Seba Vision is another company that has used an ambidextrous organization to drive growth through radical innovation. Seba Vision, based in Atlanta, was founded in the early 1980s as a division of the Swiss pharmaceutical conglomerate Ciba Geigy, now Novartis. It sells contact lenses and other eye care products to optometrists and consumers. Despite producing some innovative new products in its early years, such as the first FDA-approved bifocal contacts, the company remained a distant second to market leader Johnson & Johnson by the mid-1980s. To make matters worse, J&J introduced a new disposable contact lens in 1987, threatening Ciba Vision's sales of conventional contacts. By the early 1990s, Ciba Vision's president, Glenn Bradley, realized that J&J's dominance provided economies of scale that would doom his company to ever-shrinking profits. Ciba Vision would gradually decline and eventually fail if it did not introduce radical new products. Bradley saw that in order to survive and grow, his company needed to continue making money in the mature conventional contacts business while also producing a steady stream of breakthroughs. Bradley launched 6 formal development projects in 1991, each focusing on a revolutionary change. 4 of the projects involved new products, such as daily disposables and extended wear lenses, and 2 of them involved new manufacturing processes. He canceled dozens of small R&D initiatives for conventional lenses in a controversial but necessary move to free up funds for the breakthrough efforts. While traditional business units would continue to pursue incremental innovations on their own, the entire corporate R&D budget would now be devoted to producing breakthroughs. Bradley realized that trying to manage these projects within the constraints of the old organization would be futile. Conflicts over the allocation of human and financial resources would inevitably slow and disrupt the focus required for breakthrough innovations. Furthermore, the new manufacturing process demanded different technical skills, making communication between old and new units difficult. As a result, he decided to establish autonomous units for the new projects, each with its own R&D, finance, and marketing functions, and he chose the project leaders based on their willingness to challenge the status quo and their ability to operate independently. The new units created very different structures, processes, and cultures when given the freedom to shape their own organizations. The extended wear team remained in Atlanta, but in a separate facility from the conventional lens business, while the daily disposables team relocated to Germany. Each team hired its own personnel, devised its own reward system, and chose its own method of transitioning from development to manufacturing. But, while Bradley recognized the importance of shielding the new units from the old business's processes and cultural norms, he also recognized that they needed to share expertise and resources, both with the traditional business and with one another. As a result, he took a number of steps to integrate management throughout the company. First, and perhaps most importantly, he assigned all of the breakthrough projects to a single executive, Adrian Hunter, vice president of R&D, who had a thorough understanding of the existing business and close relationships with executives throughout the firm. Hunter worked closely with Bradley to manage the trade-offs and conflicts between the old and new businesses. Furthermore, all of the leaders of the innovation projects were invited to attend Bradley's executive team meetings. Bradley and his team also articulated a new vision statement for Ciba Vision, Healthy Eyes for Life, that was relevant to all aspects of the company. While this move was mostly rhetorical, it had a significant impact. It emphasized the links between the breakthrough initiatives and the standard operation, uniting all employees in a common cause and preventing organizational separation from becoming organizational fragmentation. As Bradley pointed out, the slogan provided people with a social as well as an economic reason to collaborate. Ciba Vision, like USA Today, revamped its incentive system, rewarding managers primarily for overall company performance rather than the results of their specific units. Ambidextrity paid dividends. Ciba Vision successfully launched a series of contact lens products, introduced a drug to treat age-related macular degeneration, pioneered a new lens manufacturing process that dramatically reduced production costs, and surpassed J&J in some market segments over the next 5 years. Furthermore, the conventional lens business remained profitable enough to generate the funds required to fund the daily disposables and extended wear lenses. Ciba Vision's annual revenues were around $300 million at the time the new strategy was implemented. 10 years later, its sales had more than tripled to more than $1 billion, and the new drug, which had been transferred to Novartis Pharmaceutical Division, was on its way to becoming a billion-dollar business. Ciba Vision has recently capitalized on ambidextrity by pioneering so-called fashion lenses that allow people to change the color of their eyes. Developing ambidextrity. USA Today and Ciba Vision stories reveal what it takes to become ambidextrous. One of the most important lessons is that ambidextrous organizations require ambidextrous senior teams and managers, executives who can understand and respond to the needs of various types of businesses. Such managers are a rare but necessary breed, combining the characteristics of rigorous cost-cutters and free-thinking entrepreneurs while maintaining the objectivity required to make difficult trade-offs. Without people like Tom Curley, Karen Jurgensen, Glenn Bradley, and Adrian Hunter, managers who can be consistently inconsistent, as one of them put it, USA Today and SIBA Vision would have struggled. Another important takeaway from the USA Today and SIBA Vision stories is that a company's senior management must be committed to operating ambidextrously, even if its members are not. Resistance at the highest levels of an organization cannot be tolerated, so transitioning to an ambidextrous organization can be a painful experience. Curley of USA Today fired 40% of his executive team. When they fought the decision to reallocate R&D investments to the new units, SIBA Vision's Bradley asked some of the executives in charge of the traditional business to leave. Both leaders also backed up their actions with new incentive programs that helped to institutionalize the new management approach. We've also discovered that ambidextrous designs require a clear and compelling vision that is relentlessly communicated by a company's senior team. These ambitions provide an overarching goal that allows for the coexistence of exploitation and exploration. Curley's network strategy and Bradley's healthy eyes for life were compelling visions that emphasized the strategic importance of ambidexterity and the benefits for all employees, both traditional and breakthrough. Building ambidextrous designs requires a clear and compelling vision that is relentlessly communicated by a company's senior team. USA Today, well aware of newspaper reporters' natural skepticism, took a particularly aggressive approach to communicating its new vision, strategy, and organization. Curley kicked off the campaign by dressing up as a cyberpunk, complete with blue hair, and attending a company meeting. "It's a new world, and we need to be ready to move into it," he recalled. Jurgensen began sending daily emails to the entire news staff in which she highlighted the concrete successes of the new approach, such as explaining how one reporter was able to take a story intended for the newspaper and get it on the website and television stations. Furthermore, all members of the company's management committee were expected to hold weekly communications meetings within their respective units, as well as workshops focused on the changes employees needed to make in their own jobs. When change is at a revolutionary level, you can't be aggressive enough in confronting the issues, Curley now says. In businesses, the forces of inertia are powerful. The legions of once successful businesses that have failed or gone out of business demonstrate how difficult it is to break out of a rut, particularly a comfortable, profitable rut. Our research findings should therefore be encouraging to executives. An established company can not only reinvent itself by developing groundbreaking products and processes, but it can also do so without destroying or even impeding its traditional business. Building an ambidextrous organization is not easy, but the structure itself, which combines organizational separation with senior team integration, is simple to grasp. Any company, given the executive will to make it happen, can become ambidextrous. Like, subscribe, get notified.